Guys, Israel is now at war with Gaza. That's really the only way to look at it, in my opinion. We're going to break it all down for you on the show today. I'm Ben, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome back to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. So I'm sure, as you've seen over the last week and a half, there's been a slew of rockets fired into Israel by the Islamic Jihad terrorist organization inside of Gaza. And we're going to break it all down on the show today, kind of get you caught up to speed as to what's been happening inside of Israel and Gaza. This is from Arutchev. It says the IDF released updated statistics this evening, which was Thursday last night, on the number of rockets which has been fired at Israel by the Islamic Jihad terrorist organization since the beginning of Operation Shield and Arrow earlier this week. According to the IDF, 803 rockets have been fired at Israel as of 8 p.m. last night. I believe that number has been up to over 900 as of today on Friday. One person was killed and five people injured when a rocket struck a residential building in the city of Rehovot this evening, last night. We're going to get into that later. The IDF further stated that 620 rockets fired into Israeli airspace were fired into Israeli airspace, while 152 rockets fell short into Gaza. 179 rockets were intercepted by the Iron Dome and David Sling missile defense systems. This evening, red alert sirens were activated in the cities of Rishon LeZion, Holon, Bat Yam, and central Israel. The Iron Dome system intercepted the rockets fired at these cities, and there was no damage. Guys, I'm going to show you some of the videos coming out of Israel because this is insane. It's one thing to read headlines. It's another to see what's happening on the ground. Take a look at these, a couple of these that people are uploading to social media here. Just insane. You hear these numbers of rockets, but just look at the barrage just haphazardly fired into Israeli cities. This is insane. You see the Iron Dome taking out the rockets. They just kind of looks like a finger's just busting them out of the sky. You can hear the residents of the city cheering. Absolutely. Because, I mean, what on earth would they do if they did not have the Iron Dome here? What on earth? Just look at that absolute barrage of rockets aimed directly into the population center, to these dense high-rise buildings in the middle of cities. Just these rockets would just rain down and explode right in the middle of these population centers. It's a terrifying moment. If you're right there watching, it's absolutely terrifying and exhilarating at the same time to know you're in such mortal danger, but at the same time recognize the miracle that God's given you in having a defense system that can at least take out the bulk of these rockets. So in a minute, we're going to get to some of the damage that's been done inside of Israel, including a missile that hit a house in Rehovot, and an Israeli tragically killed in that. But on this track about war in Israel, there's another war that's going on right now. And after escaping the Ukraine-Russian war and settling in Israel, there are 35 orphans who need your help to be fed, to be clothed, and to support their growth as new Israelis in the Holy Land. Through Israel 365's campaign, you can help provide these children with the love and support and resources that they need to thrive. By donating to this campaign, you can make a real difference in the life of a child who desperately needs your help. Your gift will provide these children with food, clothing, and an education that will have a safe place to call home and people who love and care for them. As Christians, we know that God has a heart for the orphaned and the fatherless, and I want to encourage you to click the link in the description below to learn more and make a donation. Your gift will help transform the life of a child and give them a hope for a future. Donate today by clicking the link in the description below. So really tragic news out yesterday. There was a house that took a direct hit in Rehovot, took a direct hit by one of these missiles coming out of Gaza. And it is important to call them missiles. I mean, technically they're very small missiles, and the world calls them rockets, which I think somehow kind of degrades the concept, the idea that Hamas is like firing bottle rockets or these very primitive devices out of Gaza. And some of them are primitive, But we have to remind ourselves that these are small missiles with warheads on them in many cases that are flying out of Gaza, and whatever targets they hit, they do explode and cause extraordinary amounts of damage. So there was a missile that hit this house in Rehovot, and just take a look at these videos here. This is absolutely tragic.
אין פה אף אחד. אין, נעליים. חבר'ה, הבניין מסוכן. הבניין מסוכן.
From Arut Sheva, they say a rocket fired by terrorists from the Gaza Strip struck a residential building in Rehovot this evening, which was Thursday, last night. A 70-year-old man was killed in the rocket strike and 5 people were injured. This is the first fatality on the Israeli side since Operation Shield and Arrow began Monday night. 4 of the injured are in moderate condition, while 1 person is in light condition. The injured were taken to the Kaplan Hospital. Mogen David Adom paramedics pronounced 1 victim dead with severe shrapnel wounds and evacuated 5 victims, including a 74-year-old male, a 50-year-old male, 2 females in their 70s in moderate condition, and 1 in mild condition. 2 additional victims were evacuated with stress symptoms. So the IDF has come out and officially said that it was due to an Iron Dome failure. They were tracking the missile coming out. They knew where it was going to land. They fired an interceptor missile and it missed. And so therefore the apartment was hit. And it is important to remember that as miraculous as the Iron Dome technology seems, it is not infallible. It's very, very, very difficult to intercept these missiles coming out of Gaza. It takes an extraordinary amount of math and technology to track the missile and blow it up en route, and it's not perfect. The IDF has said to date, I guess in this most recent war, most recent flame up of this war with Gaza, that the Iron Dome has had a 91% success rate. So this is the 9%. This is the additional 9% in the tragedy that it can cause. So our prayers are with the family of this man that was killed and all those who are injured, that they will, hopefully, God willing, make a speedy recovery. Israel's response to this has been hard, which, thank God, they've been hitting Gaza very hard, been hitting these terrorist cells in Gaza very hard. This is from the Jerusalem Post just yesterday. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, and Mossad Director David Barnea held a security assessment Friday afternoon from Gallant's home, where he was mourning the recent death of his mother, unrelated to the conflict. The Israeli military will continue its operation in Gaza for as long as necessary, Netanyahu said as comments issued following the situation assessment on Thursday. Netanyahu instructed security forces to continue to exact a heavy price from the Islamic Jihad for its aggression against the citizens of Israel. And also remember that this is not actually Hamas who started this most recent flame up of this war. It was what they call the Islamic Jihad organization. Basically, media tries to separate the two. They try to separate the Islamic Jihad organization from Hamas. Officially, they are sister organizations. They're two separate terrorist organizations inside of Gaza. For all intents and purposes, they have the same goals, some of the same leaders, same funding by Iran, very similar resources. I have a difficult time separating the two in my mind because of that reason. They operate side by side. The Islamic Jihad organization is operating under full authorization from Hamas in this case, although Hamas has not thrown the weight of the resources behind this specific attack of Israel. They are threatening to do so. And the Israeli government has made it very clear that if Hamas does, Israel will make a very swift and very hard response to Hamas in specific. So yesterday, things had slowed down a little bit. There was talk of a ceasefire between Israel and these terrorist organizations. Today, on Friday, things picked back up quite a bit. A number of rockets were fired back into Israel again, including some rockets toward Jerusalem and surrounding areas. And so Israel has said, as of this point, that they are calling off any talks of a ceasefire and will be responding very harshly. Israel has assassinated a number of leaders in recent days from the Islamic Jihad organization, including another major military leader last night. So, yeah, there's multiple rockets fired toward Jerusalem this morning. The Iron Dome took out 4 of them. The rest exploded in open areas. Several more rounds throughout the day hit a house in Sderot, right on the Gaza border. No one was injured. And another one hit a house in Nir Am. And again, thank God, no injured there as well. My encouragement to the state of Israel is to really stop playing games with Gaza. I know the international community would love for Israel to continue playing this cat and mouse game with Gaza for the next 100, 200 years, however long this continues. But Israel has to realize that they are at war with Gaza. They have been at war with Gaza for a number of years now. These terrorist organizations are only growing stronger, and they are built up on the Israeli border and will not stop until something makes them stop. And I really think Israel cannot continue to play this cat and mouse game where Hamas or the Islamic Jihad organization fires hundreds and thousands of rockets into Israeli population centers. Israel takes the hit, mourns their dead, makes some sort of response, takes out some targets, they negotiate a ceasefire and move on with their lives. Israel cannot continue doing this. As from the international community, I want to encourage Israel to strike and take out these terrorist organizations in Gaza once and for all. Treat this as the war that it is and hit Gaza very, very hard. And not civilian centers, not innocent civilians, but the people of Gaza who want to see Israel dead, who are attacking them in a military way. With the war that it is today, Israel has to respond and respond very, very hard and endless. End this. There's no reason why the citizens of Israel, Arab and Jewish, if you remember, Israel is made up of a lot of Jews and a lot of Arabs who are full citizens of the country, full and equal rights, and are both under extreme threat by these missile attacks. Israel has to defend their citizens and put them first and take out these terrorist organizations once and for all. If that means retaking Gaza and putting it under Israeli military control, so be it. There's no reason why Israel should have to live with this threat on a daily basis. In conclusion, if you unconditionally support Israel's right to defend themselves, then write your support down in the comments below. I also want to remind you to check out Israel 365's campaign to bring Ukrainian orphans to Israel and provide for their needs. If you enjoy the content coming out of this channel, subscribe so that you can get these videos into your inbox every day of the week. As always, tune out the fake news and tune into what is actually happening here in the land of Israel. We'll be back every day, Monday through Friday, with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.